In this week's video, we're going to talk about curtain entrances, and those are the methods which we're going to use to get into and out of our curtain enclosures. And there's about 5 or 6 key styles that are commonly used, and we'll touch on the benefits and the drawbacks of those different styles. So if we go to the ACON website, the first one up is the Velcro split. So the Velcro obviously is a very effective entry and exit option. It's just a simple split in the curtain that you can walk in and out of. You can, of course, choose not to have Velcro, and then the curtain just drapes back shut. It's not a real positive type seal, but of course, it doesn't cost any additional amount for the curtain. The Velcro, one thing to keep in mind is the Velcro itself gets easily clogged. So if it's a real dusty environment or there's a lot of painting going on or any kind of debris floating in the air, that Velcro will get clogged and stop working. So not an ideal situation for real dirty areas. In addition to the split, you can also use magnets. So what we do is we just put little circular magnets in the curtain, one on each side, and these magnets, they just come together obviously and close. More of a positive close like the Velcro, but it doesn't have the drawback of getting clogged up. So this option, very inexpensive and probably our most common for entry and exit. The next one up we have is the freestanding strip door. So freestanding is essentially a strip that is on a frame. So what you have is a tubular frame. This is generally like a 3-inch by 3-inch tube. And it's going to arrive, and you're going to have 4 lag points in the base plates, and you're going to lag these down to the floor. And then what the curtain will do is it's going to just drape around this, and you're going to use tech screws or Velcro or some means to attach to the outside perimeter of this frame. This obviously is a fixture, non-moving, so if you have to open up your curtain and get through, this thing's still going to be there unless you unleg it from the floor. But it's ideal for larger strip entrances. We can go up to about 14 by 14 feet as far as the max size. And, it's easily put together. It's going to arrive in 3 sections. So you have the 2 uprights, and you have a cross member at the top, and then the strip curtain just bolts to the top frame. So also quite a common setup. The drawback, of course, as I mentioned, you can't get it out of the way if you ever need to move your curtain. It's kind of there. So a close style, which is related to the freestanding, would be the sewn-in version. So with the sewn-in, you have the curtain, and just as the picture shows, a strip curtain which is sewn into it. And what we do is we just stitch that right here at the top, and then you have your normal strips hanging down. The strip width is going to be dictated by the height, the vertical height of the opening. And this is a nice entrance because it allows the curtain to still close, and the strip curtain is going to basically go with the curtain and roll up. So you can get it completely out of the way, and it's a lot less expensive than the freestanding because there's no hardware, and there's also the savings of not installing it into the floor, shipping cost, and so on and so forth. The limitation to these is they can only be used with an 18-ounce material, and the max size is actually a 10 by 10. So that's the maximum size because this material is only so strong, and it just can't hold heavier strip curtains. Next step would be the freestanding curtain door. So this uses the same frame structure as the freestanding strip curtain. However, it has a rolling hardware. So you're going to have a rolling curtain track, just like maybe the main curtain has. And it's got little hooks, and then of course your main curtain, and it can roll completely out of the way. So this rolls, either left to right. Generally, if you need it completely out of the way, we'll just give you some extra hardware. So your curtain track is longer than the opening, and then the curtain gets stored to the side. So this would be just on one side of the curtain. Max size on this is also 14 by 14. and it is less expensive than the strip door because the curtain material itself isn't that expensive. And for some of the more expensive options, especially for very high frequency, where there needs to be a really good seal, we have the power roll-up doors. These also are a freestanding frame, and you have your power roll-up door, which has a drum that's mounted at the top, and then of course it rolls down and rolls back up. These can be remote controlled, so your fork truck driver, he can have a little remote and it sends a signal to the door, and then it opens and closes. Or they can be manual. We have a spring-loaded version, so you can pull up, pull down. Those are a lot less expensive, but of course it requires the forklift operator to get off the forklift, open it, and then they have to remember to close it behind them, which sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. These are powered, of course, so you have a drop of electricity, or you can run it along the base, and they're most times like a 110 volt motor. And the max size for these actually is a 14 by 14 as well. And we get into things specific such as frequency of opening and closing to determine motors and high duty cycle and speeds. But this is definitely the most expensive option. It's kind of a high-end option, but it's really nice once it's installed. And we also have the impact swinging doors. So you've probably seen these at grocery stores or retail outlets. Essentially, you can run into these bumpers with a pallet jack or a forklift, and they swing open, they swing back shut. And of course, these have a freestanding frame as well. So once this is up, it's not moving anywhere. You can open and close your curtain by unattaching it from the outside perimeter of the frame, but this thing's gonna be sitting there in the floor. These they're kind of pricey as well as far as entry and exit options go. So I would probably only choose this for more of a permanent type curtain wall. So which one's best? Well, that really depends on what you're doing. We take things into consideration like your frequency of traffic, what your budget is, how long you're going to keep the curtain installed for. There's basically the entry and exit options, which are included as part of the curtain, and then you have these freestanding styles towards the end here, which we discussed, which are the most expensive. So you can just talk to us about it, and we'll figure out one that works out best for you. And then we'll put those on your quote, and then you can hammer out the specifics. So if you need more information, contact us, Acon Curtain and Divider, 989-414-1209.